Haha. All right. Um, it'll get there in a second. There I am. Hello. Hi. Uh, hey all, what's up? Um, it's been a few days. As y'all, regular listeners would know, we did a bit with um Jay Beal on Monday, and I thought that went as well as it could be, considering we had two dropouts in terms of the stream. I still don't know what happened there. I'm keeping an eye out on my current stream as to figure out why that happened, but I think we got a lot of good content there. I'm actually looking forward to seeing if Jay will be joining us for InfoSec Campout. I'm not gonna hound him, but I will definitely um, keep following up with him to see if he could, maybe not camp, but maybe come out for the day and give an interesting talk about Kubernetes, and maybe we could talk a little bit more about that. So. For those of you who are regular watchers of our stream, I'm working. Oh, YTT. You'll pay someone else to hound him. Maybe I'll just YTT. I what I probably will do is set up a IFTTT or something like that. Hey, by the way, it's been a few days since you've talked to Brian. Maybe you should reach out to him about the conference or something like that. I can definitely do something like that. Um, just to poke at him a little bit. I mean, he's up in Seattle and he has voiced some um, hesitation about exposure to the vid, and that's fair. I did tell him that we're outside, and he was not fully aware that it was in the Seattle area. So before we'd started recording, we had talked about the location of our conference. So if he doesn't join us, then he could come and speak, and that'll be, he gets a free ticket to come at least to the conference because he's speaking. So, we'd love to have him. Uh, Man, I don't know what the hell's up with that, but so as you can see, I have a cool little I have a couple of overlays I've been testing in the last 12, 24 hours here. One of them is in the upper right-hand corner. Just trying a few things. I also have an event related one that if somebody was to cheer or follow or subscribe, the little box pops up in the middle and does an advanced alert thing like, hey, Brian is subscribed to whatever. So I'm just testing some things out. If they're too annoying, then I'll get rid of them. Speaking of followers, I'd like to thank Clam Security, Bite. Oh, it didn't work. I heard the noise. Oh shit! What? Where is it at? It's supposed to be right there. Boo! Yeah, exactly. It's supposed to be like right there. I can't. Can I cheer myself? No, I can't cheer myself. It's supposed to have worked. I don't know what the hell happened. Maybe it's supposed to be on top. There we go. We'll give that a shot. That's a thing. I got told today by somebody they couldn't attend our conference because it's on a Saturday and they're Jewish. So I was like, oh, okay. And I told Miss Berlin that, and she's like, that's a thing. And I was like, I guess. But yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna futz with something here. I'm going to extend this back out. Okay. I'm gonna make that a big old. I don't know if you can see the big red outline, but I've made it like a really big box. I'm wondering if maybe it didn't like the being shrunk thing. So just gonna futz with that a little bit there. And I've made it at the top of the source on everything. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, so ideally I have some ideas on followers. And so I was just trying to make things a little bit cooler, if you will. So I went to, let's see, stream elements. I had So ideally, what's supposed to happen is, so these animated alerts come up. This is how a lot of people do streaming. I'm kind of giving you behind the scenes because a lot of people don't understand. So if I hit emulate down here and I do like a subscriber event, or like what Miss YTT did, cheer. So that's supposed to be kind of a thing that happens. It's supposed to be a cheer event that happens, or somebody's like, hey, you've been tipped, or something like that. So yeah, see, those are supposed to be what comes up when those happen. I don't know why it didn't, but um yeah. So you can and then you just copy the overlay link up here in the upper right hand corner, and then you click save, and then you open up your properties, and it's the same thing. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Well, if somebody else, does some bits, I appreciate the bits. Thank you so much, YTT. That it's very helpful for that. Maybe I'll do some more testing with actual bits on another account that I have, and test it out. And so, but yeah, I mean, it's supposed to bloop up something, so kind of sucks. So yeah, like if somebody raids us, then little message comes up. It's like, oh, we're now hosting with 10 viewers or whatever. So. All right, click off that. Anyway, so yeah, I was just poking around on the internet today. These are some of the other ones I use. The goal widget is, of course, this one up here in the upper right hand corner right here. And then I played with that one, but the chat bot is the one that's on the bottom of the overlay, which I'd seen a couple of other folks use for streaming, and thought that was kind of cool, because I don't like how it takes up a lot of vertical space, and the horizontal space is just very wee. It's wee, if you will. So yeah. Anyway, close that. We'll figure something out there for that. So I don't want you to spend any more bits if you don't want to, YTT. You can definitely give it a try. I mean, well, but don't spend all your bits on me. I'm sure somebody else has got some bits that they can give out. Wink. I'm very unhappy right now. Okay, definitely boo. I don't understand. Stupid animated alerts. I know, what a rip. I hear the noise. You heard the noise. I hope everyone heard the noise. But yeah. Anyway, I do appreciate the 200 bits. I can refund you those YTT if you want to, but yeah. Anyway, so speaking of followers, JJ Storm 84, Clam Security, Bite Beaver, and Cyberminty. God, you didn't even hear the noise. I hate that. That's the thing. I don't know how these people get this shit so polished and working and everything. Supposedly 13,000 people or 13,000 streamers are using this overlay alert thing, and apparently I can't do that for shit. So I don't know what the fuck's going on, but there's let's Toasted Fart and Carlos Vendramini 5. So thank you all for following. And of course, YTT for the 200 bits. I do appreciate that. More than you know, and I'm probably going to just have to set up a stream where I'm just testing things, and then send myself bits. That way I don't look like I'm trying to spam for stuff. You need to get a hot tub, I guess. Okay. Sure. I'm old, so I don't. I'm imagining that's like a hot tub time machine reference or something. I could be wrong. I need to get a hot tub. Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, we're planning on getting a hot tub in San Diego when we move down there, but I don't think that's the joke you're talking about. But yeah, so I've been scouring the internet for some news, some interesting items. If you don't know, your wife doesn't want me to tell you. Okay. that yeah. Oh, yeah. No. Yeah. 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 I'd like to stay alive, and I'd like to keep all of my bodily parts intact. So yeah, we'll just continue on as if nothing happened. um, I found this article on Mastodon of all places. Interpol seizes $50 million and arrests thousands in a major social engineering scam crackdown. So, oh, they've look at all the cool stuff they've got. They've got computers and counterfeit docs and oh, look, they got a really nasty looking keyboard and a monitor and stuff. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, yeah. But I also follow Panda Don, who's also Panda Don on Twitter, and he has like little icons that run around like little Pokemon on the bottom of his screen. I was like, how do people do that stuff, right? I'm like, I don't yeah. I mean, I get it. It's when streaming is your only form of income and you live and die by your user interaction and your people who are helping out and what have you. You definitely have more impetus to yes, yes, YTT. I'm actually I'm in 79. I'm like what do they call it? There was a special group of people born from 1979 to 1984 that lived as a child without the internet, but grew up with the internet, and it's different. Oh, but yeah, it was like we grew up not knowing the internet until about age 15, 14, 15 or so when it started becoming more the wannabe boomers. Yeah, yeah, I think I'm probably like early Gen X or something like that. My wife is like super late. I'm late Gen X or like early Gen. I don't know what the hell they call those things, but yeah. So yeah, uh, yeah, interesting time, 1979. Yeah. So let's see, printers. We got that's fine. We say boomers is like it's a bad thing, but there are some benefits to that. So what did what counterfeiting? Excuse me. Social engineering. Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Scams, internet age have become more sophisticated. What did they get? I mean, they got a lot of paper. They got three, looks like HP printers. I think those are HP printers. Some keyboards, looks like that's a monitor, some cell phones. Yeah. Hmm. So they raided 1,770 locations worldwide, 3,000 suspects identified, 2,000 operators, 50 million in illicit funds, and 4,000 bank accounts frozen. Very interesting. Yeah, that one. That's so. Interpol highlighted two particular results. They rescued a teenager who was tricked into pretending to be kidnapped and sending videos of himself with fake wounds to his parents. Oh my God. $1.6 million in ransom from his parents. Wow, that's rough. Okay, and then Chinese national in Papua New Guinea wanted for participating in a Ponzi scheme. Ugh. Defrauded 24,000 victims. Wow. Did he run a crypto exchange? And they say these are only the preliminary results, so there still may be more from this. So be interesting. Called First Light between May 8th and March 8th. March 8th and May 8th. That's pretty nice. That's a bit of a haul. Nice little haul for Interpol. Not the music group. The international police or what have you. But yeah, I got that one off of Mastodon. Somebody had posted that up. Let me see. Sometimes Mastodon has some really interesting news articles and things. Then sometimes it's like, oof, yeah, there's some a bit rough. a little interesting. Yeah. So Nathan Wasson, thank you so much for that one. We currently have a handshake agreement with Jay Gorlick, who I'm surprised we've never had on the show before, or the broadcast, or the what did Jay call that? The Twitch switch. That's what was the Twitch switch. That was pretty good. If you didn't get a chance to watch the videos of Jay doing some Kubernetes stuff, go check those out. I did have a couple of drops between, but it seems like it didn't last very long, so that was nice. I don't know if it was I don't know if it was an issue with me running too many things in the background or what have you, but I managed to get both of those back up and running before it got too bad. So, let me see what. Oh, so as an aside, for those of you who watch on Saturdays or elsewhere, I have been looking at ways because I was trying. I'm building out some tables and stuff for some of the solo role play stuff that I'm doing, and I was like, there's got to be a way of doing diagramming of things because let me pull up my PDFs here. So. For some of you, this is going to be like, what do they call that? Review or like, duh. Oh, that's pretty nice. Where'd that come from? Oh, that's solo. Oh my goodness. Okay. So there we go. Okay. So one of the things, let me see, easier solo play. There it was. So, one of the things that was suggested for solo role play was to build a mind map based on your victim or NPCs or what have you, and then building off of that. So you've got different parts like, yes, YTT there. Lucid, there are numerous ones out there like Lucid Charts and Draw.io and other things like that. Yeah, Lucid Charts is really good. Draw.io. I mean, you could even use I've used PowerPoint. I've used Microsoft Whiteboard. I've used there was a Mind Maps website. I've even downloaded Mind Map software. They all use Java, which is ass. I don't like Java. Try to eschew it wherever I can. So I was looking because I wanted to build some stuff out in Markdown. And I'm going to close that because wow, my laptop has found a new speed for its fans apparently. So I was playing around, I was building a couple of tables for Markdown and making it pretty over here. I got a couple of extensions set up for that, and I found this thing called Mermaid because I was like, oh, I want to use like plant UML or something like that, rich UML support or whatever. The problem was, I believe the way I read this, you have to download the official like plant UML to use, and of course it uses Java. And I was like, yeah, let's not do that. I don't want to use fucking Java. I shouldn't have to install Java in 2022 to do anything. That really hamstrings me, or hamstrungs. It hampers me. There we go. We use hampers. It hampers me in what I can do. And one of the other things that I found when I was doing searches was, and these are some of the plugins I use for VS Code, Insiders, Mermaid sequences. Actually, I have a home brewery one for making home brewery D&D type content, which was kind of cool. So it has a specific CSS style sheet for your Markdown to be able to generate content that looks like Dungeons and Dragons type output. So it's pretty cool. So, so one of the things I was looking at was Mermaid, Markdown preview for Mermaid support, and that got me into looking at Mermaid for various diagramming tools and stuff. So I was poking around, not just Kubernetes, but looking at different diagram types for Mermaid. So mermaidjs.github.io was an interesting one. This is all generated via text, and then you can go in here, and thankfully this looks nicer than what it did before. So You have your class diagrams for like UML based items. If you wanted to do a class diagram, there are a number of different ways you can do sequence diagrams. So you've got different ways of doing those, and it's super easy to drop them into Markdown files. I was poking around at making that happen inside of. Close this. So you just do like a code bit here, and then call it Mermaid in this case, and then you can do a graph, and it shows you the relationship graphs to different boxes. Sequence diagram is here, so you have Alice, Bob, and John, and doing the. These were just examples that I copy pasted in because I wanted to see how they worked and played with them a little bit. They even do Gantt charts. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not exactly sure how or why you would want to use this for a Gantt chart, but it is available. And they also have relationship diagrams, and you can actually add additional themes. Like I can change this to dark. I can change this to forest. Yeah, you can actually create small themes. There's not a ton of these themes, but you can even create a custom theme. But I think it was cold. No, was it blue? Blue, no. I had a link. I think I had a link in that talked about, yeah. So there's various things you can do. Sequence diagram. You can change. You can make changes. You can add rectangles for specific areas. You could even, I guess, you could even do as much network diagrams and things for this as well. So I was just poking around with this. I did find it interesting that Markdown is quite versatile in that respect, and allowed for, yeah. And there's a document editor, so you can go here, Mermaid, GitHub, the live editor, and you can actually go in and make changes. There's some sample diagrams down here where you can change. Actually had a, let me see. So you can change. They actually, somebody's created a live editor for this. Synthwave. Ooh, man, that burns the retinas, don't it? Corporate. I mean, there's a ton of them. Wireframe, lo-fi, fantasy, black. Oh, there you go. You got your dark, your luxury, Dracula. Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool. Just some things I've been poking around with, because what I'd like to do, and there's also in VS Code, there's actually, oh no, there was a command line function that you can use to convert. Why is everything just maximized? It's like in Geezer font or something. Where was it? There was something I posted up. Oh, it's in Discord. I put it in the programming channel because it is, where is it? There it is. All right. So, and so I've been posting more than a few things in here. Programming channel. It's a Mermaid CLI, and it is a command line function that turns your mermaid diagrams into SVGs, or scalable vector graphics, so that you can save them. Once you've made them in your VS Code, then you can save those in as a SVG. I mean, I would just probably make a screenshot and do it this way. But if you don't want to have to do any of that, you can make a copy like that. Cool. It'll also go into your Markdown files and change, pull out the Mermaid Markdown and replace it with a diagram with an SVG in the same directory, which I thought was kind of cool as well. And then, ideally when you're making changes in GitHub or whatever, you'll just commit those SVGs up to your GitHub repo, and then nothing ever changes. And ultimately, you can make changes in your markup or Markdown diagram sheets, and then save those SVGs and then upload them again. And it saves time and effort. So yeah, that was a cool little tool that I found for converting your diagrams, any of your diagrams, anything in Mermaid, which is they do tell you, and I thought that was kind of funny, because it is a JavaScript system. There are some examples where they were like, this will run code if you're looking at it in your in your preview pane over here. So if you've got code here and it's malicious or what have you, it will actually run it over here. Kind of like how Outlook has its preview pane and it would run, viruses or something like, run malware and stuff in the preview pane. And, you run into issues like that. But I also found this one was pretty cool. It does a get graph, so it'll show you, your various branches and what have you. Um, for your, I don't know where the numbers came from, but it does show different portions of your GitHub if you have different branches for that. So you could almost treat it like a breadcrumb kind of thing for your GitHub or for your commit branches to show where everything is or where those fixes occurred or what have you. So yeah, just a little something I've been looking at and learning how to use, because I could definitely see using this at work, especially if we're updating diagrams or what have you. I mean, we do have tools like Lucid Charts, I think, but we have a ton of documentation in GitHub that could probably use. Usually it's like, oh yeah, click on this link to go to the diagram, and I was like, well, why don't we just have a copy of those in there, or we just keep a copy of the screenshot in there? And I was like, oh, this might actually be something we could look at doing, because we have everything in our environment. We run pretty much every piece of software known to man at our company at some point. So yeah, and there's just so many different types of charts. I just found those really interesting. Yeah, so there's, Mermaid JS diagram guides. So there's examples. You can also use Mermaid to generate SVGs or PNGs. The CLI will also do things like make your backgrounds transparent, or it'll change the theme of your on the fly to a dark theme or like a forest theme or what have you, and with the output of either a PNG or an SVG file. So, yeah. So just something to think about if you deal with a lot of Markdown code, or you do something and do a lot of GitHub and documentation in GitHub, instead of having to, it's like, using what you have already instead of having to go and get yet another piece of software to be able to do something. So I don't know how complicated you can get with those diagrams, but it would be just left up to whatever it is that you can do or need to do. So. All right, I'm gonna keep those up because I want to play around with. I definitely want to play around with some of the UML stuff, like the class diagrams, because you can define various relationships. I was actually trying to figure out if there was a way to do a mind map thing, but these UML diagrams look very interesting, where you can create various attributes to the original. So bank account in this case, or for like my RP game, my traveler-esque game, it wouldn't be bank account, it would be the name of an NPC, for instance. And the aspects would be owner, balance, and these would be strings instead of big decimals or booleans or integers, what have you. So, but yeah, I just thought that was kind of interesting. And again, I know. Hello, Matt Da9. Matt Dag, maybe DAG. Well, welcome. Hello, how are you? Just learning about some UML and some Mermaid and some Markdown stuff to create diagrams with. So, If you have any questions, let me know. There's the screenshots and the not screenshots, but the URLs I've pasted in there go to some of the documents that I've already been looking at online here. So, including this Mermaid Live editor, which I thought was pretty cool. Hey, Matt, what's up? So yeah, I actually thought this was pretty cool. Somebody created this. Either that or it was GitHub that created this for people to just copy paste that stuff in. So. Uh, um, yeah, CLI, Mermaid preview. All right, so let me go back here. I haven't refreshed the InfoSec site for a while here, so yep, not surprised about that. I heard there have been several groups of people, companies that were on the vendor pit, that are in the vendor pit, that have gotten the COVIDs. So yeah, that was rough. Yeah. 20.6% of attendees said they caught coronavirus with 820 votes, while 39.5 said they escaped COVID free. 40% said they were unsure. So yeah, that bothered. I had several friends who went to that. Thankfully, I think Miss Berlin said she got away with it, but there were several people that I follow on Twitter that were like, "Yep, come down with the con crud." In this case, it's COVID, but yeah, I wondered when they were going to be branded as super spreader events. So Recon up in Montreal had the same issue. There was several folks that ended up getting sick from Recon. We joked about InfoSec conferences, the big ones like Shmoo and Derby and Vegas and what have you, and everybody would go home and get con crud, and ha ha ha, it was so funny. And then the pandemic happens, and we stopped having conferences, and then people wanted to go back to doing conferences. 1 second. Oh, that's okay. And then in the face of COVID, and the con crud is now people getting COVID. And yeah, I mean, I worry about what the future of those are going to look like until we can get a better handle on this stuff. I don't know if Blue Team Con and Circle City and some of the other ones that are coming up are asking for masks and all that. I do know there are some smaller events that I know are asking for full masking and vaxxing. And but yeah, it's rough. 26,000 people in California from all over the world came in, and I'm actually not surprised that that a lot more people. I'm actually surprised it wasn't as many as it could have been. But from this discussion I heard, there was almost nobody wearing masks. So it's it's a risk management thing, and apparently some of these folks just said fuck it, and yeah, so yeah, it's unfortunate. I'm actually talking to, I will be talking to my own board of officers about our own outdoor conference, and wondering if we should require vaccination cards and masking when we're in close quarters. I mean, even though we're going to be outside, because the last thing I want is people to not come. Clam Security, oh my goodness, oh, damn it. Okay, Clam Security, thank you so much for subscribing. I heard the noise. I did not see the graphic that's supposed to pop up when that happens, so I do apologize for that. But thank you so much for subscribing. Yeah, thank you for that. I'm going to figure out the special little thing that came up. So, oh my goodness, somebody else did too. Oh my goodness. Oh, they followed. Okay, so Memorex072E. So thank you for following. Appreciate that. Thank you, Clam Security. Appreciate that. Thank you for subscribing. Yeah. Just as an aside to remind people, Amazon Prime, if you aren't using your Prime subscription, you get one a month to give to a Twitch streamer. So If it isn't me or somebody else, just a reminder, it's a free subscription that you can give out to people that, we get basically a tier 1 subscription cost for that. So, but I do appreciate Clam for your patronage and giving out for that. So, it's actually nice here today, so I have the windows open, and of course we've got construction going on down the street here. Oh, iCloud hacker. Oh, well, at least the hacker icon is not wearing a hoodie anymore. The sunglasses are still a thing, and he apparently uses a Mac now. So that's California man. California man, thousands of iCloud accounts, sentenced to 8 years in prison after pleading guilty to conspiracy and computer fraud. Let's go. Hey, Bloodbound, what's up? Appreciate you coming and hanging out today. So, to compromise the targeted account, used emails that would allow him to impersonate Apple customer support reps and trick targets into handing over their IDs and passwords. Oh man, that's fun. That's good times. By the way, for all of our new followers, if you go Discord, you can get a invite. Sure to warn the balaclava. Yeah. Well, we're trying to clean up the idea of the black hat hacker by getting rid of the iconography that we tend to use in business meetings and stuff. With the hoodie and everything. He has some unfortunate fashion sense, I guess, from the flannel shirt or whatever. I wish I could zoom in a little bit further. I'd love to see what's on the reflection on his glasses, see what it says. It probably says like, oh, I just put this up for, what, let's, wait a minute. Oh, I can't. Oh, come on. Oh, so close. I'm imagining he's staring at the same picture that we're staring at. Oh, I can't get it any bigger. Yeah, it's reached maximum, it's heck. Yeah, let me shrink this back up again. Yeah. I'm imagining he's actually looking at another bleeping computer article, and it's kind of infinite recursion or like Inception kind of stuff. It's like looking at a bleeping computer article of a bleeping computer article of a bleeping computer article. So, yeah. So, so the 41-year-old from La Puente, California, started marketing himself as iCloud Ripper for you. Oh, that's not the first time I've heard that name. Someone capable of breaching iCloud accounts and stealing anything in iCloud storage, causing fear and distress of hundreds of victims. Well, he only got 8 years in prison. That's unfortunate. And to make it worse, he stored the 3.5 terabytes of stolen content on hard drives, on cloud storage. Wow. What a piece of shit. Well, 8 years in prison. I hope that he learns something. Yeah. He also shared videos and photos. Oh, that's good. Okay. Good for him, dumbass. Yeah. Well, it's good. He'll be almost 50 years old when he gets out of prison. And, unless he gets out for whatever good behavior amounts to there. But, yeah. Damn. Okay. Yep. Some people have no limits, man. I'd imagine I not sympathizing with him at all, but it's like a drug, I'd imagine, right? Once you get started, it's like, ooh, I want to be able to continue doing this and building these things out. So, just the taste of success, just spurred him on. So, yeah, this was another article that I'd gotten. S bombs are effective only if they map to known threats. This was a dark reading article I saw a couple days ago that I had kept because I knew I was going to be talking to you fine people online here. SBOMs, of course, software bill of materials. We've talked about it more than a few times on the show here. The idea is that you should have an ingredient list, if you will, kind of like my chicharrones here. These are the ones I get from Amazon. So our SBOM for our chicharrones says rendered pork skin, coconut oil, ground cinnamon, monk fruit extract, and contains coconut oil. So just like whatever it is you buy, put that back over here, for applications or software or even hardware that has software on it, like a phone, for instance, you would have an ingredient list as to which software is being used. Sometimes you can get inklings of those things by, if they have an open source license where you can go in and look and it'll tell you, the Fraunhofer, so they're using either like AAC or MP3 libraries. FFmpeg is also a big one where if they've packaged FFmpeg inside the application or service or a device, you'll see the disclaimer for FFmpeg. But so they say the SBOM should be connected with vulnerability databases to fulfill their promise of reducing risk, says the Google security team. So, Google's open source security team points out in a blog post today that SBOM use alone isn't an effective tool for assessing exposure. Well, let's go read the blog post. Let's not read the dark reading article. Oh, it's another dark reading article. Damn it. Anyway, well, Google analysts detail how they were able to map a Kubernetes software bill of materials document using the open source vulnerabilities database, or OSV database. The database offers both a standardized format for comparison across databases, including GitHub and global security database, as well as aggregated data across ecosystems ranging from Python to Golang and Rust. Okay. New studies show a third of organizations use SBOMs, but momentum is building to boost that number. Yeah, this is going to be something like, let me post this bad boy up here in chat so everybody can take a look at that and read that as well. There we go. Our example queried the OSV database, but we'll soon see the same success in mapping data from SBOM to other vulnerability databases and using them with new standards like the Vulnerability Exploitability Exchange. Oh, VEX. That sounds familiar. Duplicate. There we go. Vulnerability Exploitability Exchange. Oh, okay. Where would somebody go and get that? It's been implemented as a profile in the Common Security CSAF as a standard for machine-readable security advisories developed by the Oasis Open CSAF Technical Committee. I've done a little work with Oasis. That's interesting. Okay. There we go. Control C, Control V. There we go. All right. Make it easier for teams to assess the full risk picture. Google researchers recommend SBOM creators begin to include a reference using a naming convention like Perl URL for all packages in the supply chain. Okay. Steps toward marrying software components with known flaws will help SBOMs fulfill their intended purpose to manage the prospects of cyber attack. And I think that's a great idea. Being able to, map those items and, showing a reference to where you can go and look for vulnerabilities. I think a lot of this is just raising visibility into what's the software stack and what vulnerabilities there are. Might help you when you're assessing third parties. I think, sometimes if you just look at the sheer number of libraries, maybe it'll be like, maybe that's a little too much risk, or they've got 800 dependencies here, and it might be something that you'd have to go and understand if that's worth something to look at. I mean, there's a lot to be said. I'm actually I I'm actually starting to understand. Oh, it's okay. It's all right, Super Lolly. Thank you for coming. I appreciate that. It is like super early for you, Super Lolly. So I do appreciate you coming and hanging out. We're talking about software bill of materials. So um, I think that the uh, I have started understanding that building some things in house versus pulling in yet another 12 line piece of software from a module or something might actually be better. There's nothing that says you can't build internal modules and then call them yourself instead of having to go out and keep pulling that same module that tells you what a if statement is, or what a while loop looks for, or is, that kind of thing. So um, I think I want to say that as we mature like SBOM development with certain organizations, I think one of two things is going to happen. You're going to have companies that are going to be giving you a box that you're going to use to, like a sync or something like that out there, where they're going to be doing the inventory for you and building your SBOM for you in some kind of automated format based on, the existing stuff. Because, once you've built it, the only time you have to refresh it would be is if you're bringing in new libraries or something. So you'd be in a maintenance mode once you've built out the initial SBOM. Um, or pruning it as you remove code or adding new things. So it would be in a maintenance mode once you were doing that. So you'd have a version control potentially for your SBOM as well. So you'll either see something like that, or we'll actually see less dependency on open source, so that people are not having to worry about maintaining so many things in their SBOM. Um, you know, uh, it would be interesting to see how they would handle the internal code versus, worrying about whether left pad or, Joe Bob Billy's fartbox dot, uh, JS is in there, or whatever, whatever that is. So, um, I actually did not know that there were this many advisory databases. So, let me go see GitHub's advisory database. Boink. GitHub advisory database. Okay. Security vulnerability database, inclusive of CVEs and GitHub originated security advisors from the world of open source software. Very cool. Okay. So Composer, all reviewed, 7,429. So 519 Go, Maven, NPM, NuGet, Pip, Ruby Gems, and Rust. But out of the seven, God, jeez, 7,500 odd that are reviewed, you have 170,000 that are not. Huh. Oh, hmm. Oh God, I'm using Pot Player right now. Why did I go here for the, oh, damn. Huh. You know, there might actually be I'm not saying a bug bounty, but there might actually be a business in this, like the being able to review the code to make sure. So these are unreviewed, right? So what if you could go in and be the person who reviews this? What if they gave you the code that was committed, because the code is open source, right? So you could just say, these were the fixes that were made. Is this a vulnerability or not? It's kind of like a first pass kind of thing, right? An exploitable out of bounds write vulnerability in pot player 172 may lead to code execution, information disclosure, and denial of service. I love pot player. I stopped using VLC because it was a weighty bitch. And man, what's this? Man and a cookie.blogspot.com. Okay. maninacookie.blogspot.com. I've never seen this site before. It has a definite GeoCities feel to it with the interesting color format, but yeah, okay, very cool. Well, that's something. Um, yeah, that's kind of interesting. Very interesting. Token brute forcing. All right. Anywho, I'll have to go look at that later. That's me, by the way. I have signed in as Berber Prime. So, uh, so yeah, I'm actually happy that there are more S-bomb things going on. I mean, when we first had Dr. Friedman on, almost 2 years ago, talking about S-bombs, it was just a nice to have when he was working for the National Telecom Information Association or something like that. NTIA. Let's see, NTIA, National Telecom and Information Administration. There you go. He was working for these folks, and then he moved over to a different group. So it was really nice to hear that this was going and gathering steam. And it was only brought up more because of the supply chain software supply chain issues that we've had. So once it starts affecting the government, then they start worrying. So new studies show less than a third of organizations use software bill of materials. Given the low prevalence reported by reversing labs, security participants, application security activists, advocates, and industry groups are all involved in efforts to increase the prevalence of S-bombs and improve the state of software supply chain security. Okay. And this was, what was this from? This was from, okay, June 6th. So it was 10 days ago. I must have missed this one. Oh yeah, I did hear the open source software security summit was when we had Amelie on. 10-point security mobilization plan. Okay. I'll have to look through that one a little later, but looks like OWASP is getting into the S-bomb using Spidex, something like that. Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and continue on down the line here. There's some links, super lolly, if you're interested, to Mermaid JS and Markdown. I was looking at some diagramming using flowcharts and sequence diagrams and things for in Markdown, so I won't have to use a Lucid chart or draw.io. So you can go take a look at that. Let's go and do some hack the box real quick here. Academy. Okay. Turn off that. Log in. Okay. Alrighty. Now let's see. We are continuing our SqlMap essentials. Double check and make sure we're all solid here. Okay, cool. All right. So OS exploitation. This was the last one we were doing before the skills assessment, as you can see here. Bypassing web application protections. We did that one last week. Yeah, last week. So we're gonna possibly get a shell this time, and then we're gonna do the skills assessment. So, SqlMap has the ability to utilize SQL injection to read and write files from the local system outside of the DBMS. So being able to read and write the files outside the local system is very similar to what is it? Remote file includes web application test, where you can actually read files that are not in the web site. So if you did like // we did some exercises with that where you had to put so many // in where it would take you up to the top of the directory structure, and then you could go /etc/ /passwd, and then you could read passwd because you're reading it as the permissions of the web app server or what have you. But then you could do things like etc shadow if you've got access to other files. So you could technically read those if you did not set your permissions up and set your web server up properly to disconnect yourself in that respect, like either shrooting the directory so it doesn't go any higher than that. There's other things you can do for that. So, the first part of OS exploitation through SQL is reading and writing data on the hosting server. Reading data is much more common than writing, which is a strictly privileged in some database management systems, as it can lead to system exploitation, as we will see. So pretty much everybody has the ability to read files. They just can't write to them. For example, in MySQL, to read local files, DB user must have the privilege to load data and insert, to be able to load the content of a file to a table and read that table. An example of such a command is load data local in file etc pass wd into table pass wd. Yep, that makes sense. So when you're actually reading the files, you're actually creating a table temporarily, loading that data from your site into the table, and then reading the table. And then ideally, once that's gone, the table it either sticks around depending on what you tell it to do, or it'll go away. So it may be a temporary kind of thing. While we do not necessarily need to have database admin privileges to read data, it's becoming more common in DBMSs. The same applies to other common databases. Still, if we do have DBA privileges, then it's much more probable we'll have file read privileges. And I think we've done this earlier in some of the earlier exercises. We had to find out if the user that is the database default user when you log in and you're running, commands against, ID equals 1. So when the result is pulled from the database server, it's asking you, is that user DB admin? So does it have root privilege or super user type access to the database? In this case, so SqlMap will run the scan. MySQL is the user. Then the SqlMap resume the following injection points and says the current user's DBA is false. So, which is great because that means when you are in a web app and that database is being managed by MySQL and DBA is logged in. You don't want the admin account to be the one that everybody is pulling the information from the database from, because if they can do that, then they can also write to that database or do CRUD operations, which is update and delete as well. So as we see, if we can test on one of the previous exercises, yep, if we get current user's DBA is false, means we do not have DBA access. If we tried to read a file with SqlMap, we'd get something like this: no data retrieved, which is an interesting error. Instead of like a 403 forbidden, it just says no data retrieved. So it tried to run this command, or it tried to run something similar and could not do that because either the data was not pulled in the first place, so this would not be allowed to run, or the database did run the program, but then realized that it doesn't have the ability to view or do whatever. So it could load the data, but not insert, or, you could insert, but not load the data. And since you can load the data, there's no data retrieved in the first place. To test OS exploitation, let's try an exercise in which we do have DBA privileges as seen in the questions at the end of this section. All right, so oh wow, we got a lot to go through here. All right. All right, so SqlMap example.com ID is DBA. So what you're going to see here is current user is true. So that means, it ran a curl request, because SqlMap, as we've talked about previously, SqlMap and curl pretty much are simpatico in terms of the ability to do things. ID equals 1, so it makes the request to the database, hey, give me ID equals 1, the information for that, and then it says, hey, oh, by the way, is the user that I just made this request a DBA? Yes, the database is more than helpful, and it says, yes, yes, it is. Reading local files instead of manually injecting the above line in through SQL injection, SqlMap makes it relatively easy to read local files with the file read option. Okay. So it's automated the process and just makes it easier and makes the command for you. So it'll ask you to file read etc pass WD. Okay. And that's assuming though. So it must check to make sure if it's a DBA. Where does it say that? Fetching file. Fetching file is a time-based comparison, large disk model weight, Okay. So it doesn't actually ask, or at least it doesn't say it in the output. Maybe it may have been snipped or something like that. It must do a check or something to pull etc pass WD. So it pulls, so it's going to pull the file down locally onto your box. SQL output, password, etc password. I would assume SqlMap would give you the ability to just view the file as it pulls it down in line. But it must run some kind of check to make sure that it can actually do that instead of just constantly trying for that. So, writing local files. When it comes to writing files, so writing is completely different, right? It becomes much more restricted, right? Since we can utilize this to write a web shell on the remote server, right? Yep. Hence get code execution and take over. Oh, you know what? I'm going to pull up my Discord here for a second because I thought I had found like a novel way of generating a shell. I don't think it's through database. I just reminded me of something. Let me see. Defense. S-bombs. I smell bacon. Oh. I may have to leave because I smell me some bacon. Let me see. Where was the link? Oh, running shell. No, I was thinking of running shellcode through Windows callbacks. So copy link. Hey, Digital Warhead. What's up? Oh, those. What is that? You got some danger dead mouse or something going on there. Danger mouse stuff going on there with your icons and everything. I found that article about running shellcode through Windows callbacks. I have no idea what a callback is. I was going to read that later. But I thought that was kind of cool where you can run shellcode and get that happen. This is why modern databases disable file write by default and need privileges for DBAs. Excuse me, to write files. For example, MySQL, the secure file priv configuration must be manually disabled to allow writing data into local files. Yeah. I mean, the database admin or the database user for MySQL should only be used to interact with the database. It should not be doing, oh yeah, by the way, this MySQL user can also, rm-rf the file system on the server. It should have its own separate, the file access should be completely different. Hey, G Mike, thank you for following. Appreciate that. G Mike 177. I'm gonna keep an eye out on my. So digital power on. I have an overlay that's supposed to be showing up when people do things like do Twitch bits or cheers or subscribes or follows, and it's not working. I don't know why. So we've already tried it a couple times, and I've got to go back and figure out what's up with it. So can't have nice things. I gotta do shit the hard way. So this is why the secure file priv must be manually disabled. So that's excellent. That's an opt out kind of thing, which we don't see a lot of, right? Usually, in the real world, it would be like, oh, well, you have to turn that off by default. We're going to allow people to have secure file privilege configuration on by default. This is an interesting flipping of the script, so to speak, where you have to manually shoot yourself in the foot and disable that. So to use the out file. If you're using Streamlabs OBS, be sure to have notifications on every scene. I have notifications on this scene that you're seeing right here, Digital Warhead. But YTT has already tried with me a couple times by giving me some cheer bits. I hear the tone in my head, in my earbud, but nothing shows up on the screen. I don't know why. So I've got to do some more testing, I think, to see what's going on. So not asking you to help me test that. I do appreciate everybody for just following and hanging out, and I do my best to just let people know when they follow the channel too, and I appreciate them. So, oh, clam security. Thank you so much. Oh my God. Yeah. So I just heard the plink, 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 but yeah, nothing happened. Damn, clam security. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. It is on the very top. I called it Blue Metro Animated Alerts. So, but yeah. You didn't have to do that. Oh man, Digital, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of the people with bits and stuff. Giving out bits. You're very, very much appreciated. So, still, many web applications require the ability for DBMSs to write data into files. I don't know why. Logs, I would imagine, would be the most likely option. I don't know why a user would need to have the ability to write data into logs, but I could definitely see application logs. I could see transaction logs, not just application logs. I would say, maybe for compliance reasons, if you're making changes to a database, you might have SOX requirements that would mean additional audits that are outside of the application, especially if you're making changes to a database that has sensitive data in it. You would want to have additional logging for that. So it is worth testing whether we can write files to the remote server. Do that with SqlMap. We can use file write and file dest options. So dest would be destination, I'd imagine. Let's prepare a basic PHP web shell and write that into shell.php. So this is a basic web shell. Web PHP system get command. So, okay, and then send the PHP to that. Now let's attempt to write this file. Digital, you passed. Awesome. Fantastic. ITIL 4. Nice. How did did you have to do like a Pearson VUE thing? I'd imagine the Scantrons have gone the way of the dodo. So you have to, have somebody scan your freaking room. Did you have a Pearson VUE or some shit like that? I got this new thing for my water bottle. It makes a glug glug sound when I tip it up. I think it's going to annoy my wife. I don't know yet. Yep, they're cooking bacon and they had to open up the window. It was proctored by a company called PeopleCert. Oh, okay. Did you still have to like show picture, show like when you do this, you have to turn the, because when I went for my PMP cert, you had to like show them a webcam scan of your entire room or something like that and get a thumbs up from somebody and what have you. So kind of annoying because I tend to talk my way through questions. Like, Joe Bob Billy's got 5 apples and Jenny's got 3 apples. How many apples do they have? I actually got told through my speakers, hey, stop talking, because they thought I was like reading this out to somebody in the room. I was like, I just scanned the room for you. Nobody came in the damn room, so it really unnerved me because I was right in the middle of a freaking test and I was told by somebody who sounded like they were about 150 years old. Yeah. See, Digital, I fully sympathize with you. And it was like, okay, I was consciously trying to not say shit out loud, and then I was like mouthing the words, and I got hit again, and they were like, "You've been warned a second time. Don't do it again." And I'm like, so yeah, I did not pass that PMP cert, and it is what it is. So anyway, so we have a PHP shell. We're going to attempt to write this file onto the remote server into the var.www.html directory. That's very bad. That's bad. Being able to write shit into the default web root for Apache. If we didn't know the server web root, we will see how SqlMap can automatically find it. Great. Technically, I don't know if you even need to know what the server's web root is. The worry you could be recording yourself reading the exam questions out loud and copying them later. Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. Um, yeah, I guess so. I mean, they wanted my entire desk cleared, which if I was trying to take a test right now, I could not clear my entire desk. It'd be nigh impossible. But um, yeah, they wanted the entire desk cleared. They didn't want uh, even like a pad of paper or something because Pearson had like, oh yeah, you're not going to need that. You can throw the paper away and use the on screen calculator and stuff. So I'm sitting here like tap tap tap, as I'm trying to do adding and shit. Um, I yeah, it was painful. I mean, I think out of so the way PMP does it is like you gotta pass or fail, and this is the fail, and this is the pass, and it was like I was like this far from passing. It was like within a gnat's ass of passing, and yeah, I haven't had the misfortune of having taken an at-home virtually proctored exam. Ugh, yeah, it was rough. I was allowed a whiteboard, but they made sure I cleared it before ending the exam. That's yeah, it's very bothersome. Not that I actually found going on site to Pearson was less stressful than it was to because at least you could put earbuds on or something and listen to music or the headphones or something, and listen to your tinnitus in your head, which is what happens to me. So I have tinnitus, so I have a in my ear. So all right. So I would imagine, you don't necessarily have to put it into the web root directory for Apache. If there was a /temp directory, you could probably just put it in a /temp directory because temp historically has had full write permissions to it for everybody. So you could, the only thing is if you ever rebooted the server, you'd lose the contents of the temp directory, but you'd be able to potentially hide the stuff inside that directory. Unless you've got somebody who's monitoring /temp for changes in that directory. So here's the output -u example ID1 file write shell.php file destination. You want it in the var www.html shell.php. So you can actually rename it something else if you found you don't like shell.php, which might be good because if you have shell.php and you don't want it to be called shell.php, you could call it index2.php or something to kind of hide inside of the root directory. Super Lolly says, I'd rather go to the center than taking it at home. My friend took it at home. They didn't allow him to have a toilet break. It was a 3-hour test. Yeah, I had the same issue. It was like if you skip any of them before you go to the bathroom, you were supposed to have completed those before you finished the bathroom break. And that was the PHP or the PMP was a 2.5 hour, I think, test at the time. And yeah, definitely clam security. I noped out of that as soon as I found that. Ask the proctor, is it okay if I put my catheter in now, so I can, I just put on my astronaut diapers or what have you. Yeah. But yeah, I remember the day I took my PMP test at home. It was the second time I'd taken it. It was also the same day that the seniors here in our neighborhood were doing their car parade thing, and we had honking of horns and screeching of tires and shit. And the proctor also asked me what the hell the background noise was, and I was like, "Look, just leave me the fuck alone and let me do my goddamn test." So, but yeah, it was rough. So, we'll see the SqlMap confirm the file was indeed written. Okay, so SqlMap will also tell you if the file was written. There's a lot of good automation in this. It's good enough for Amazon. It's good enough for you. Ugh. Yeah, YTT. Yeah, I always end up thanking our drivers as they come in because I was like, it's got to be a rough job driving that for long periods of time. So, all right. So now we can attempt to access the PHP shell and execute a sample command. You use the PHP shell and then command ls-la. Make sure you put your plus in because it doesn't take spaces because it's, not a heathen. And then you can see directory structure and the permissions and what have you. We see our PHP shell was indeed written onto the remote server, and we do have command execution over the host. I don't kill and eat them. I figure that's enough. Thanks. That's true, YTT. You know, yeah. Now that we've confirmed we could write a shell to get command execution, we can test SqlMap's ability to give us an easy OS shell without manually writing a remote shell. SqlMap utilizes various techniques to get remote shell through injection vulnerabilities, like writing a remote shell just as we did, writing SQL functions that execute commands and retrieve output, or even using some SQL queries that execute OS commands like XP command shell in Microsoft SQL Server. To get an OS shell with SqlMap, we can use OS shell option as follows. Okay. Well, that makes it easy. You just do OS shell, and then you do want to retrieve the command standard output. A. Okay. Warning, something went wrong with full union technique. Could be because of limitations on retrieved number of entries, falling back to partial union technique, no output. Huh. We see the SqlMap defaulted to union technique to get an OS shell, but eventually failed to give us any output. As we already know, we have multiple types of injection vulnerabilities. Let's try to specify another technique that has a better chance of giving us output, like error-based SQL injection. We can specify with technique E. Wow. Okay, so that's yet another switch that we have to worry about. I'm sure there's different switches for different techniques. So it'd be like technique D is by direct interface or something, something like that. Okay, so here's some of the output. Which application does the server support? PHP. See, this is where you would use like dash batch or whatever, because it's going to, you know, use the default. So in this case, it would be PHP, common locations, and then it would just give you that. So, yeah. As we can see, this time SqlMap successfully dropped us into an interactive remote shell, giving us easier remote code exec through the SQL injection. Note, SqlMap first asked us for the language used on the remote server, which we know is PHP. Then it asked us for the web root directory, and we asked SqlMap to automatically find it using common locations. Oh, okay. All right, so yeah, here's your common locations: var www, www.html, htdocs, Apache 2 htdocs. Okay, so that makes sense. Those are the default locations for Apache 2. So, because most people probably rarely change their directory structures when they're installing Windows or Apache or Nginx or what have you. Can you explain what Bash is or does? What? Is that up here somewhere in the am I missing something? Digital Warhead? Bash, you mean like Bash the shell? What are you looking at? Let me know where you're looking at on this. I didn't see a Bash on here. So. Seriously? Are we talking right? Oh, you were just talking about putting it in Bash. Okay. That is a. Did I say something wrong? Let me see. Writing a remote shell. Basic. I'm trying to remember if I actually said Bash myself. I don't believe I did, or if I did, I do apologize. Yeah, I don't remember Bash. Maybe I meant batch. I meant batch. I think I meant batch option. I think I was, yeah. There maybe I misspoke and said bash and I meant batch. The batch option in my SqlMap will just do basic default commands, right? So PHP is the default. Common locations is the default, or would be the default. It just gives you the default um, when running through SqlMap, so you're not having to. You don't have to think as much, right? So it'll try all the defaults that normally work about, a good number of times. I think if that's what I was talking about, let me know. Otherwise, I do apologize for the mix up there. So, all right, so let's get this pig started. I don't know how much time we're gonna have here. This damn bacon's making me hangry. So, oh, by the way, the lovely picture is a drone shot in 4K of the Shire in New Zealand, which is right here. This area where my mouse is moving is where the where Bilbo's house was in the Shire, and this is all more developed now than it was back in the day. But when we went there before the Lord of the Rings, before the Hobbit was built, it was much less developed. But I've stood inside of Bag End. It was it's definitely pretty cool. So it was just a 6 foot by 6 foot hole. There wasn't much there to speak of. So all right, so we're going to click here to spawn the target system. All right, so we've got the target system up. Yeah, Bash is a Digital Warhead. Bash is a Linux term. It is a shell that is pretty much so like. Let me see. What do we have here? Shell. Okay, so yeah, like you see, this is a Bash shell. Bash is also known as the born again shell because it was Bash shell. So yeah, Bash is a Unix shell and command language written by Brian Fox. Brian Fox for GNU project. He's still alive. Oh man, that'd be kind of cool to have him on the show. I can never get him. He's too big. But yeah, so it was a replacement for the Bourne shell. So it was a free software replacement. So the Bourne shell, or SH, was probably encumbered by some kind of licensing issue. And so Bash was the, born again shell, or what they called it, I think is what, yeah, born again shell. Here it is. A pun on the name of born shell replaces in the notion of being born again. So, so yeah, so shell shock. So yeah, I've been partial to that. I've actually been partial to PDKSH when I was using OpenBSD, BDKSH. The public domain corn shell, because corn shell KSH was encumbered by licensing. OpenBSD used PD corn shell, which was nicer because it did have things like a history, so you could go up and look through things. There's other ones now, like there's Ash, which I think is used for a lot of Ash shell. Yeah, it's a lightweight Unix shell. It's used in a lot of smaller, less powered things. Use Debian. Debian Linux has it. There's a number of different shells you can use, though. So some of them are different. I mean, it's pretty much everybody, I think, uses some kind of SH shell, whether C shell, CSH, or ZSH is another one that actually gets a lot of use. Actually went through a stage where I was using Oh My ZSH, I think, for a while there. Oh My ZSH. Yeah. It was a framework that you could use. I used it for a while. It's a framework. There's a number of, yeah, great, 10x developer, whatever. Just hate yourselves more. Comes with various plugins that you can use to enhance the shell itself. Things like cheat sheets. There's other plugins like auto jump. It has the AWS CLI, I think, is one reason I used it. It has Brew installed, Cake, Casks if you're using it in Windows or seriously? Okay. Bike Bell. But yeah, there's a ton of stuff that comes with it. Like you can do color SH and man pages and colorize and what have you. So, oh my ZSH isn't awful. I just found it a little weighty for me. But yeah, it's pretty fun. I used it in Mac OS for a bit. So, and you can just install it using SH. So you can use regular SH to install oh my ZSH. So there you go. Anywho, let's get back to our examples here. So we're going to try to use SqlMap to read the file var www html flag.txt. So I need to go to the browser. It's 167, 71, 142, 156, 32148. Okay, so we're going to use SQL injection vulnerability to get a parameter ID, exploit the host. Go down to inspect, pull up our console. I'm going to reload this bad boy. There we go. Then we're going to click here. We're going to get our ID equals 1. I'm going to copy as curl because curl is the same as SqlMap. All right, so we're going to Control-Shift-V. So there's that. While we're up here, we're going to do --batch, --dump. I don't think we're going to need that. So let's scroll back up and read files. So we're going to go back up here to the top and see how we read files. Reading local files. So there we go. File read. So it should just be file read, colon, or double quotes, and then it's var www flag, right? So --file read var www html flag Jesus flag dot text. See, when you get old like me, then you no longer spring chicken. All right, so just make sure I got it right. Var www html flag dot text. All right, and then we go click over here, Control B, Control Shift B. Nope. All right, so this is the only hard part here. Again, you could get rid of all the H stuff if you wanted to. There's really no reason to keep those. That's all header information, which curl is smart enough to figure that out for you, and SqlMap is too. So that's what we're going to do. File read should work because you're just wanting it to file read that, and that was the instructions that it gave you for that. Now, if I remember correctly, it will store that file locally, and then you have to go read it somewhere else. Let me see, double check. File, reading local file. So yeah, and then it stores it in cat SqlMap output, whatever. All right, so if this works, we should. All right, let's let that run. Digital Warhead. I'm going to have to go back and watch the VOD. I'm Digital. I'm going to allow your post. My auto mod got a little bit overzealous for you. Verizon does, in fact. Yes, Verizon does do that. Yes, okay. So, all right. So fetched data is logged to text files under home. All right. So we should be able to. I'm going to highlight. There we go. Copy. I'm going to go CD, Control-Shift-V. Okay, so we go ls. There's the session.sqlite. Okay, and then we go cd files, right? And that puts us into, so there's flag.txt. All right, so I should be able to do a more, or you can do a cat in this case. I do more, some people do less, whatever it is. You just want to review the damn file. That's the important thing. And there it is. Super users are powerful. So you can do more, less, or cat in this case. So, all right, so let's copy. And I don't think I'm going to be able to do any more tonight after this last one here. So that works. Then we're going to use SqlMap to get an interactive OS shell on the remote host and try to not find another flag within the host. Okay, so interactive OS shell. All right, so command execution. All right, so we can try this. Let me. Is this the same one? Okay, so what I need to do is just, well, not just, but CD. We're gonna go CD back up. Okay, so I'm gonna go doink, 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 doink. There it is. All right. Bacon is calling. Absolutely, I'm smelling the bacon. Exactly. I'm a vegan except, for bacon and steak. So, I'm a big fan of that. All right, so we're going to go -- OS shell and then -- I'm going to do -- technique E because supposedly that's going to work. E. All right, well, we'll see what happens. So I did bash, so I shouldn't actually get all this output here. Yeah, right. Okay. Okay. All right, so ooh. Oh, okay. I definitely, whoa. Okay. Whoa. I've dumped a lot of flags. Dumped a lot of flags. Oh my goodness. Oh, wow. Okay, so I've dumped more flags than I should have. Wow, if I didn't know it was that easy, I would have just dumped all the flags. Flag 9, flag 7, flag 3. Yeah, see, I've gotten all of these before. So Cookie Monster's thinking of Gratz. Yet another randomized. That's 10. 1 out of 5 vegans would call you a vegan. That's awesome. 4 out of 5 dentists. Yeah. You've C-surf tokenized. Yeah, boy, I just dumped every flag in the database. I don't think I was. Does that make me an ultra hacker? Did I just ultra hack all the things? Okay. I don't think I got a shell though. That's the big thing. I don't think I got a shell. Let me go back. Okay, use SqlMap to get an interactive OS shell on the remote host. Try to find another flag within the host. Maybe did I put dump in here? Did I add dump to the output? Oh, okay. So I have a shell. It says calling OS shell. Type Q or X. Okay, so ls-la. Yes. No output. Interesting. Okay. Try to find another flag within the host. So could I do maybe do a find name flag star. Okay, so that kind of worked because here's the one from var www.html flag.txt, and that's the one I got. So in /flag.txt is the one I want. So if I go less flag.txt, yes, no. Oh, okay. So more flag.txt. There it is. Super users are powerful. Okay, so that wasn't hard. I just needed to also do a find. So, and then look for flag star in this case. So, excellent. Good stuff. Let me Control C, Control V. All right. And then hit submit. Uh-oh. Did I find the wrong... Did I find a flag I wasn't supposed to find? Oh, you know what? Did I... Oh, you know what? I may have found a flag I wasn't supposed to find. That makes me wonder. It wears me out. Flag is in a very common directory. Do I have a... Oh, that's really weird. Okay. If that's super weird odd, huh? Let me scroll back up and see if there's any other directories where it found a flag file. Pink plastic watering can, fake Chinese rubber band. Oh, you know what? You know what? I may be looking at a flag that's in the directory. Let me... Okay, so it says nothing in tip. Well, so Clam, I did a find of all of the flag.txts on the site, and these are the two that I found, right? Yeah, all flags are meant to be found. That's true, and I did dump the database and found all the mother flags as well. And I do have a shell. So if I do ls slash... So there's flag.txt. It's in a very common directory. That's what the hint said. It was in a very common directory. This is the flag that is in that directory. So if I did a more... Actually, if I do a cat... No, don't do that shit. Oh. Okay. Is the flag guaranteed to be called flag.txt? I'm assuming so, considering this one was also flag.txt. And the hint did say it's in a very common directory. So slash is usually it. And this is the text. I could go to cd etsy. PWD. Okay, so let me see. Cat flag.txt. Oh, there it is. Okay, so interesting. So this whole site is riddled with text with flags, right? So okay, so I had to run slash text. So oh, I'm an idiot. Okay, so super users are powerful was the one that I was already looking at inside of our www.html. So I'm an idiot. I should have went slash flag.txt so that would give me the right directory to pull that shit in from. So I should have... I didn't even bother reading the entire thing, and I would have realized I just copied the same damn flag in. So never run database DB. All right, so copy. All right, so there we go. And I should be able to submit this one now. Ding, 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 ding. All right. All right. Well, I love you all. Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much for the bits, being able to just test things. I honestly was not social engineering you. I did have an icon in there, which would have shown up if I'd had this going to be a nice big fat box right here in the middle, if you can see where the red box is, and would have shown up. So I do appreciate all the bits. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you, Chemisec, for Clam Security. Thank you, Digital Warhead. Thank you, YTT, and all for all the bits. Really gives me a nice warm fuzzy feeling there. I have to go cook some pork, and I'm getting hangry from the bacon. So I'll probably be back on Saturday, probably to do a little more RP stuff potentially. I don't have anything on the calendar yet, but I definitely do want to do that. Failing that, if something were to happen, we're going to be on Sunday night with Jay Gorlick. His nickname is Wolf. Oh, Digital 69. Digital Warhead. we're gonna be doing a break sec interview with Jay Gorlick on Sunday evening. So Miss Berlin will definitely be here. Mr. Betcher's still on vacation in Orlando, the House of Rats, I think, Rat House or House of Mouse in this case. So we're gonna be doing an interview. We're gonna be talking about fishing exercises and companies that engage in fishing exercises. Do they actually do more harm than good? And some other stuff too. We'll just riff a little bit. I've known Jay for a few years. Um, um, and it'll just be good to have a good time. So, hope everyone has a good rest of their day. Take care of themselves, and we'll see y'all soon. Bye.